So listen, I know that currently this show does not have a ton of viewership, okay? Like, I think, just full transparency, the Spotify numbers are like 12 on like a good day. It's like 7 to 12 downloads. Apple Podcasts, I don't even bother checking that shit. I think that's like 3 or 4. And on YouTube, like, we average like 20. Greenlit is usually like double that. So listen, I know the audience for the show isn't very high, but one of the consistent audience members for this show, as well as Greenlit, one of our biggest supporters, shout out my beloved father, Kevin Pelton. Woo! But, Dad, when you're listening to this, I know the story I'm about to tell, you're going to be a little mad at me, okay? You're going to be a little upset to make my stupid son. I know. But if you don't know, again, I'm an LMU grad student, and my current class schedule is Mondays, I have a fucking disgusting 8:30 a.m. class. The class is really fun, don't get me wrong. It's just, who puts a class at 8:30 a.m.? I get it, like, your freshman year undergrad, you always have, like, those terrible timed classes because, like, all the good classes are taken by upperclassmen. Sure, I understand. But first year grad student? Why are you giving us an 8:30 a.m.? That is so evil. But we have an 8:30 a.m., and then we have like a 6:40 p.m. that goes to like 10 p.m. at night. It's just these brutal times. Wednesday, I have an 11:40 a.m. that goes to like 2, and the 6:40 class repeats. And then on Thursday, I have a 1 p.m. Thursdays are beautiful. Tuesdays and Fridays, I have no class. Beautiful. But man, that Monday can suck. Especially because on Saturday and Sunday, I was about to say I go crazy, like I'm a big partier and I'm out drinking and doing drugs. I don't drink. I don't think I've ever been to a club. I never really go to bars. And if I do, I get a Shirley Temple. It's just not really my thing. But me and Nicole, my roommate, who's also been a guest on this show, will just like watch 5 movies or like a whole season of Dexter. And we're up till like 2 or 3 in the morning just fucking around. And all of a sudden I gotta get up in a couple hours because some dumbass at LMU thought it'd be a good idea to make a class at 8:30. What the hell? Most people that go to grad school, are adults that have like jobs and they have kids and they work like a 9 to 5. Who's pulling off this 8:30 bullshit? But this week, I unfortunately missed my 8:30 class and I didn't show up. But here's what happened. It was not me being lazy. I know, Dad, that's probably what you think, and everyone else listening at home, that's probably the go-to thought, okay? But Sunday night, I went to bed relatively early because I'm like, I got my 8:30 a.m. class tomorrow. I didn't have a presentation, but we were showing off our assignments, so I knew I had to like actually shower and like brush my teeth and show up not in PJs and like just spraying deodorant and putting a hat on. I had to look presentable, you know what I mean? So I wake up at like 7 to go to the bathroom. I wake up every morning very early to go pee. I'm like an old man. I wake up like 5 times in my sleep to go pee. So I wake up at 7. I go pee. I check the time. I'm like, okay, I can probably sneak like another 30 minutes of sleep before my class. So I get back in bed. I get all snug. And all of a sudden, I get a text from one of my classmates. For the sake of the story, because I don't want to use his real name, we'll call him like John. So I get a text from John. So I roll over, I check my phone. I'm like, oh, what did John say? And John shoots me a text like, dude, did you hear about class today? And I'm like, no, what are you talking about? And he goes, class is canceled. And I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, professor just sent out an email. Class is canceled for the day. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. I can go back to sleep. So I flip the phone over. I get back in bed. I get all comfy. And I sleep till like noon. Like I'm in bed for hours. I'm having the time of my life. And all of a sudden I get up at noon. I'm like, all right, let's actually start my day. I gotta get ready for the next class, I can go to the gym, get some breakfast, whatever. So I'm starting to wake up. And I'm remembering this text from John. And I have this thought, I'm like, did that really happen? Did John really text me? So I open my phone and I go to my messages and I don't have a message from John. I have nothing. Which means I woke up to go pee. I went back to bed and I had a dream that my classmate texted me that class was canceled. And I didn't realize it was a dream and I just took it as gospel. And then I slept until noon and I totally missed my class. So it's the classmate's fault is what I'm saying. Not my fault. Fuck you, John. But yeah, you can imagine the email I had to send to my professor, like, hey, I missed your class because I had a dream that John texted me it was canceled. Whoops. So yeah, I had to send quite a strange email. I'm sure in his 10 years of being a professor, that's probably one of the weirdest excuses he's gotten for someone missing class. But hey, it happens. Anyway, welcome back to Director in Development. Hello, welcome back to Director in Development. What a fucking title of a show. I would love to say I came up with it, but I think Nick came up with it. Is that true? I might just be giving him credit for no reason. Anyway, welcome back to Director in Development, the podcast that does not stop until I'm directing Avengers 9. Also the podcast that just keeps making my father disappointed in me. I'm sorry, okay? I thought the text was real. It's not my fault. I can see it now. I know I'm going to get a phone call after this. And he's like, son, I'm going to have to reprimand you, son. And I'm like, it's not my fault. Sometimes dreams see real. Sometimes dreams see real. Sometimes dreams seem real. Anyway, welcome to today's episode. Is film school worth it? If you don't know, I got my undergrad in film at Emerson College. Though technically it's not film. It's something, it's like, what the fuck is it called? I think it's called like media arts production. It's some like very fancy name. Though recently I know they made a new school film and they combined it with like film and TV. So now it's like way cooler. And of course they made that the second I graduated. So I kind of got like the lame one and not the cool one. But I got my undergrad and a very fancy title. But I got it for film at Emerson. And I currently go to LMU as a master student. Wow, that's a cool title, isn't it? Master student. I go to graduate school at LMU, also for film production. This time, more focused on like directing narrative fiction, where Emerson just kind of made you like a jack of all trades. But point is, I've gone through the film school ringer, okay? I can answer this question very well. Is film school worth it? And the truth is, it's kind of a complicated answer. The first area of film school, at least the conversation of film school that I think is really important to have, is the skills that film school can teach you versus the networking value that you get from going to a film school. Because those are two very separate things. You have big directors, like, off the top of my head, I can only think of one, but I guarantee you there's more. Like Quentin Tarantino famously didn't go to film school. And actually, I think he's been very vocal about being somewhat anti-film school. And I know a lot of big film people that have vocalized that. They're like, oh, film school's kind of a scam. You don't have to go to film school. You can learn it all on your own. And I think, to be fair, I gotta give them credit somewhat. I put a huge asterisk marks next to that. Because when it comes to skills, like, I'm a director, hence the title, the brilliant title of the show. Thanks, Nick, I think. Director in Development. Is I want to focus on being a director. I like directing narrative fiction. I like working with actors. That's kind of my favorite area of filmmaking. I'm not super good about technical stuff. I don't really consider myself a good writer. I'm decent at editing when I have to, except Avid. Oh, fuck Avid. Premiere Pro is so much better. Avid, suck my dick, Avid. But when it comes to the actual skills of being a director, of working with that, like being on a set and knowing how to run a set, knowing how to work with crew, knowing how to work with cast, especially knowing how to work with crew when you don't know like the technical lingo. Like I'll see the shot that Nick is working on, and in my head I'm like, oh, I want it to be like brighter and maybe a little bit more orange. Now when I try to convey that to him, there's like a little bit of a translation issue, right? Because he knows all the technical stuff. So if he wants it brighter, more orange, he would just be like, okay, you just increase the white balance and maybe the ISO. And if you want like a better depth of field and blah, 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 blah. But to me, that all is garbage nonsense. So I'm just like, can you make it look prettier? And he's like, what the fuck? How do you want me to do that? So there can be troubles like that. And again, that's someone who went through film school and I still don't quite know technical aspects like that. But in terms of actual skills, in my 4 years at Emerson, I found that I learned the most about productions being on actual sets. And that's 4 years of taking film classes. You don't actually learn a lot of the technical skills from being in those classes, especially if you're focused on being a director like me. To be fair, cinematographers will go into some of those classes and they teach ISO, they teach aperture, they teach like shutter angle, all that fun stuff. That stuff is great. There's a lot you can learn there. A lot of film schools, they have a shit ton of equipment. Like Emerson had this place called the EDC. It was called the Emerson Distribution Center. And it was notoriously a pain in the ass. But they had like a bunch of cameras and tripods and boom mics and all this fancy stuff, right? So you go to your like intro to cinematography class and like, okay guys, today we're just going to build up this beautiful Sony camera over and over again. And you can just play and experiment and get to learn it, which is great if you're into stuff like that. Someone like me, that's just a class I have to get through to get to the stuff I actually want to learn, which is like working with actors. So all the skills that I learned through like River Fork, Triptych, Psychedelic Toad, Mama's Pie, I didn't learn any of that from the actual classes I took at Emerson. I learned all of that from just forcing myself to be on set. It's like if you have a little kid and you're trying to teach him how to swim. Some parents really just throw him in the water and just hopefully he swims. That's kind of what being on a film school production is like. No class can prepare you for being on an actual set. That's just something you go have to experience. And to be fair, a lot of film schools don't advertise that they can. Like, hey, we'll try to give you the tools necessary. But at the end of the day, a set is a very unique experience, especially if you're the director of the set and you're the leader of the set. And that comes with, you're going to get skills through trial and error, just doing it over and over and over again, just practicing a lot. And the only way to practice is not really through class, it's through doing the sets themselves. So in my experience for trying to become like a narrative director, especially at Emerson undergrad, I found that the skills I learned in my 4 years of classes a lot of the time didn't necessarily apply to what I'm actually trying to do. So I could see some people hearing that and go, okay, then film school is a waste of time. Like if you're not learning what you want to learn, why would you go? And whoa, hold up. The biggest pro when it comes to skills versus networking value is, oh my God, the connections you make in your classes and through those sets are indescribable. Like, I couldn't have made those short films if I didn't go to Emerson. All the people that worked on those are Emerson students that I had classes with. And we're like, hey, we just want to make something fully independent. We don't want to do it through the school because they're not quite teaching me what I want to learn. But all the equipment came through the school. All the crew, all the cast came through the school. So the amount of people you will meet in those classes will set you leagues ahead than someone that didn't go to film school and just moved out to LA to try to make it. They know nobody. They know no one. And, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Like, they'll get on sets, they'll do their thing. But if you go to film school, you have just this arsenal of people, this beautiful, beautiful crew of people that you have been through sets together. You know how you like to work. You know kind of what you're doing. And then you come out, you are unstoppable.
I'm Allie Giust to people that don't know me personally. I'm a recent undergrad of Emerson, currently going for my MFA in screenwriting. So yes, I am in fact also a filmmaker. I just focus more on the, writing side of things and like actually generating and creating the story itself. So I know Matthew from Emerson. We did all of undergrad together. We first met, I want to say the end of first semester sophomore year, because our friend Liz basically came up to me and was like, hey, they're filming a short, they need extras, you want to do it? And I was like, hell yeah. It was probably right around Halloween. Like, it's coming up around that time now, actually, of when we first really, had our interaction. And then I wouldn't say we actually became, friends and, collaborators fully until second semester sophomore year, when we both did Emerson's Castle program, so we were studying abroad. Basically, when we came back from that, we were best friends, and Pelton's like, hey, you want to work on a triptych about water with me? So yeah, that was the next project. A Triptych About Water was, I think, summer 2022. The following year was Please Don't Lick the Psychedelic Toad. After that, Your Mama's Pie. And then after that, the River Fork miniseries, Tales from River Fork Community College, which is releasing now, which is super exciting. But yeah, we've pretty much collaborated on every project since we met, which is crazy to think about. So the deal with Emerson is, if you're going to Emerson for film, you're probably under the major, like, media arts production, or they recently changed it. It's visual media arts, whatever you want to call it. It's film and TV production. But within that major, everybody kind of concentrates on their own thing. My professors were so helpful. Nicest people you could ever meet. Active working professionals that gave genuine feedback. Like, it was critical, but it was never mean. It was never discouraging. And they really wanted to see you succeed. Like, they want, like, our generation to take over the writers' rooms and get our stories out there. It's the only way to get original content. So that was always super helpful. They were always available if you needed anything. Even if it was like a project that was unrelated to class, I could send my writing to them and they would give me their genuine critique of it, which I loved. But other than that, in a general kind of regard and aspect, the connections I made at Emerson are invaluable. And I don't mean it in that superficial, like, oh, like, I said hi to them in the hallway once, or I knew their roommate's brother's friend, or some shit like that. I mean, I've made genuine friendships with people that I love to collaborate with, and we're not afraid to, tell each other what we really think. But again, also, we're never mean about it, and we're never, like, stuck up or anything. It's people that genuinely love the craft and just want to help each other. Like, you have a project you want worked on, you need help with it, I'll be there. And I know it's vice versa.
I think, honestly, the most valuable thing that going to Emerson for undergrad gave me was that set experience and networking with those people. Those two things alone really solidified that I'm like, oh yeah, film fucking rocks, and I want to do this for the rest of my life, 100%. Like, before Emerson, sure, I did stuff in high school, but, like, I never had a real set where I got to, like, play director, if that makes sense. So to really challenge myself and play director and realize, oh yeah, this fucking rocks. Like, that's something that I could get nowhere else, and I'm really happy I did it there and with those people and at that time. And I know a lot of people that go to Emerson or went to Emerson, and they always said, like, yeah, like, I want to try writing and directing something, but, like, I'm just kind of nervous. Like, it's a big step. And man, when you're in that film school environment, that's the place to try it. You know what I mean? Like, I only tried it the first time because they wouldn't let me in the film program. So I had to, like, prove myself, and then I made River Fork, and I just fell in love with it. But I cannot recommend enough just trying shit. You have those 4 years to find out what you want to do in film. A lot of the time, depending on the film school, you can find classes that will give you skills to do it when you get to set. And the best part is, you can get to set so easily in those 4 years. I've learned since moving to LA, outside of my little LMU bubble, it's much harder to get on sets. It's not as easy as you would think. Even me, I've, like, cold called Marvel and been like, hey, I'll do it for free. I'll be a PA, I'll wash cars, I'll get your coffee. You don't have to pay me a cent. I'll still show up. And nothing. You will hear nothing back. So in those 4 years, network like a motherfucker. Get to know your classmates. Get to know what they like to do. You all have faith in each other because no one knows what they're doing quite yet, especially in those first couple of years. So if you're a shitty director or a shitty boom op or whatever, so is everyone. So it's fine. Just try shit, because that experience of being on set and networking is the most valuable thing that a film school can give you that you can't get outside of film school. If you're not going to go to film school, go right into, like, the big shit, you're going right in. You know what I mean? It's like your dad is throwing you in the pool you've never swam before. But film school is like, oh, my parents hired, like, a professional swimmer. And they gave me, like, the little paddles to put on my shoulders, and they're gonna, like, teach me how to swim nice. I'm gonna get, like, a breaststroke in there, gonna get a backstroke. I'm gonna become, like, a professional swimmer. You know what I mean?
In my personal opinion, what Emerson did really well was teach you the rules and the structure. And by teaching you the rules and the structure, it gives you ways to break it and bend it. That's kind of what I like to do. I like to look at the rules that I've been given and figure out how I can be the most innovative and creative with it. Because otherwise, really, like, how are you gonna get, like, something original, something unique? You don't want your stuff to feel recycled, and I think that's the biggest thing that everybody's kind of thinking. Like, you want to make something original and like something that's gonna be the next Godfather, you know? That's how I approach it. I take what I've learned in school and I use it to effectively throw the system out the window and do what I like. Because how can you really, innovate if you don't know what you're trying to innovate from or improve on?
The one thing I do wish film school did a better job at. Now, okay, my main experience is with Emerson undergrad and what's the fancy term? I said it earlier too. Media arts production. Is that what it is? I think that's exactly what it is. In media arts production, the biggest con I would give to film school is they're purposely trying to make you like a jack of all trades. So even if you go in and you're like, nope, I want to be a director. Or even if you go in, fuck director for a second. If you go in like, I want to be an editor, which, oh my God, God bless you if that's you. Or if you're like, I want to be a cinematographer. I want to be a boom op forever. I love the sound department. I love the electric department. Whatever you want to be, you could go in knowing that 100%. And Emerson will be like, okay, I appreciate you saying that, but you can go fuck yourself. And for those 4 years, they put you in everything. They're going to make you take an editing class. They're going to make you take cinematography class, electrical department. And there are a lot of pros for taking classes like that. So when you get to set, you kind of have knowledge of every department. You know how to talk to every department, except in my case where all the camera stuff was just in one ear and out the fucking other. So every time I talk to Nick, it's just like trying to speak a different language. But there are definitely, like, I understand why they do it, so you have knowledge of everything. Because most people are going in, especially undergrad film, and they have no film experience. Like, sure, like, again, I did stuff in high school, but I don't even know if you could count that. They're like stupid YouTube videos. So you could argue I went in with like no experience. But the only con with that is once you figure out what you want to do, whether it's your first year, whether it's your third year, you just kind of have to like sock it up and tough it out a little and just get the degree. Like, I knew I wanted to be a director very quickly, so they had 2 directing classes at Emerson, only 2, which is bananas. But one of them was like directing, I think it was called directing actors, and one of them was like directing with the camera or something like that. And I'm like, hell no. Sorry, Nick. I'm going to go to the actors one. So it took me 4 years to get to that class. I knew freshman year I want to take that class, but they wouldn't let me. So it took me 4 years to get to that class. I finally get to that class, and the professor is essentially an actor, and most of the classes were just like acting exercises. Like, we did like improv, and he'd make us read scenes, and he would just direct us instead of like us getting to like direct actors. I'm like, what is this? Like, why am I just in an acting class? So I could argue that I spent 4 years at Emerson. I didn't take a single directing class. The only directing opportunities I got was through, again, River Fork, Triptych Toad, Mama's Pie, Tales. So there is kind of like a downside to making you be a jack of all trades, but there is like also a big up of all these different departments and how they operate, but at the same time, if you know you want to focus on something, they just won't let you do it.
Like, I wish there was more in-depth on, like, cold emailing or getting your first assistant's job. I don't know, maybe more of an emphasis on how much toiling you're gonna have to get and do before you actually, like, break a hole in the wall. That's my biggest issue, I'd say. And it's not even really an issue because they did touch upon it, but just going more in depth with that would have been super helpful to prep for kind of post-grad life. So basically, Emerson's MFA program, the deadline was January 31st at 11:59 p.m. I sat there awake on January 31st at 3 a.m. on FaceTime with my mom in a panic because it had just hit me that in 3 months from then, I was going to essentially be out on my own. I wasn't going to have my friends around me, my support system around me. The structure of classes was going to be gone. It would be like a permanent summer vacation almost, and that freaked the hell out of me. So I'm sitting there on FaceTime with my mom, and I panic submit the application for the MFA program. And mind you, that application included 3 original essays, plus recommendations from professors. Thankfully, my professors didn't give me shit for asking for recommendations so late. Shout out Marty Cook and Mike Bent. And, I submitted it, and 2 months later-ish, I was accepted. I guess, like, in a way, it kind of felt like the natural next step. I don't know. I got accepted, and it kind of, like, it just felt like, oh, I was supposed to do that, rather than, like, oh, this is an achievement. Not everybody does this. Not everybody gets accepted. Like, ooh, it was kind of just, like, for me, I was like, okay, yeah, I guess we're continuing with this. My brother went for his master's immediately after his undergrad, and it kind of felt like what was expected, but it also was like, I wasn't sure what the alternatives were. So it was, half of it was like, yeah, it's the natural next step, and then the other half was very much, oh, I don't know what the alternatives are, and I'm, like, having an anxiety attack over this, so I'm just gonna go with what I know.
Now, grad school. Grad school is a completely different animal. Again, I am very new to grad school, but already there's a clear difference between LMU and Emerson. The biggest difference is for the first year and a half of LMU, it operates like Emerson. It is very much a jack of all trades kind of thing. Right now, I'm in a cinematography class, I'm in an editing class, I'm in a writing class, I'm in a directing class. Now, to be fair, some of the time I'm in these classes, I'm like, man, I already learned this shit. I'm like, can we just do something cooler or just like move on to something more fun? But at the same time, like my editing class, they're teaching us Avid, which is like the industry standard editing software. We're back at Emerson, I was learning Premiere, which again, I said it earlier, but fuck, I love Premiere. Premiere is so much better. I know it's technically not, but whatever. I love Premiere. My heart will always be with Premiere. Avid, I hate you. If anyone is listening that works on Avid, you are an evil demon. But thank you for letting us edit movies. I appreciate it. But again, currently, it is very much jack of all trades. They're making sure you know everything. The biggest difference, though, is after a year and a half, that's when you like select your classification. That's not what they call it. They have like a cooler term than that. Select your focus. Select your major. It's not major, but you have to like select a focus, and they have many different things. So you can focus on cinematography, and then the rest of your time at LMU, you're just taking camera classes. You can pick editing. And the reason I chose LMU, oh my God, they have directing narrative. Let's go. So once I get past all these kind of boring film classes that I've already taken, once I get past that, I can say, LMU, I am 24 years old. I've officially decided after now 5.5 years of film school that I want to direct. And they're going to actually go, okay, then we will teach you how to do that one thing and just emphasize that for like a year and a half. And then you can get the hell out of here and go on your merry way with actual skills of directing. So for that alone, LMU, again, right now, I'm in the middle of just trying to get there, and it's incredibly difficult trying to get there. The grad school at LMU is very different from the grad school at Emerson. Emerson, from what Allie said, you can kind of like take your time with it. It's a little more flexible. There's not like set class times. LMU, it's basically like undergrad. They're like, no, you got to show up at 8:30 a.m. We have specific class times. It's all in person. It's a very intense amount of work. Our first semester, we have to make 3 short films. We have 3 massive editing projects. We have to make a script a week and have it printed, and it's like a 6 to 10 page script every week. It is such an intense amount of work, but I know it's coming. I can see like the little light at the end of the tunnel of, oh my God, I can finally focus and learn what I really want to learn at film school.
Grad school, the training wheels are off. Your professors expect you to be much more independent. They don't send out as many like reminders, like, oh, this assignment is due, like blah blah blah. It's, you have to pay attention to Canvas. You have to work on it in your own time. You're not forced to like sit at classes at a specific time, which is nice. So you do have a lot of flexibility. But yeah, it's unstructured. It's so unstructured. There are certain points where you'll be writing like 30 pages are due like within a week. and you're like, oh shit, I've got like work and this and this and this to do. So you gotta find the time, you gotta make the time, you gotta get it done because there's no excuses at this point. You're an adult now. I have no regrets about my film education. I loved my time at Emerson, which I know like not everyone did, but I personally did. A large part of that was due to the friendships that I made there and, you know, just getting to work with other creatives in essentially a big playground, having access to all like the equipment and stuff like that. So I don't wish I went to a different school. I think Emerson was the right choice for me specifically, because I did apply to other schools, but it was just like when I toured Emerson, it was immediately like the right vibe, the vibe that I wanted. I am happy with my writing focus because that is one of my favorite things to do in the world. I do kind of wish I spent a little more time exploring like the film orgs a bit more and maybe working on like even more projects outside of like my friendship sphere. Like I did a little bit of work with Emerson Independent Video. I think it would have been cool or nice to work with M-Chan. Maybe take a couple more production classes because I took TV production one semester and I loved that class so much. It was so much fun. I love being in the control room. So the technical aspects, yeah, I guess I did a little more hands-on things with the technical aspects, but nah, I wouldn't change my focus. I'm giving my all to, you know, making it in the entertainment industry. That's my main focus.
So, I guess to answer the question, is film school worth it? If you're willing to put in the time, because it's a lot of time, like in total, I'll be at film school for 7 years. That's crazy. And I won't really get to learn and be in classes of the stuff I actually want to learn until year 6. Like it takes that long to really get there. But you meet all these people along the way. You have so many great opportunities to go outside of school, but still work within the school resources to do stuff you want to do. These are people you will know for the rest of your life that you will want to work with for the rest of your life. And you guys are all coming up together. Like there are people currently in the Quaywood Collective that, just to be honest, they're doing better than I am. You know what I mean? They are ahead. They're doing way better at breaking into the industry. They're getting on big sets. But it's a beautiful thing because they're keeping me in mind and I'm keeping them in mind. Like when I'm making a short, I'm like, hey, you're a very busy guy. You're working with like a Paramount production right now. But do you want to come and work on this stupid little short film? And they've had a great time with me. So they're like, fuck yeah. And then if they're looking for crew, like they need a PA on some big set, they'll know me. They're like, hey, he's fun to work with. He's pretty good on set. Hopefully that's what they think. And they'll call me up and be like, hey, do you want a PA? So you're all coming up together. You're all in this journey together. And you're all just trying to get to this one spot of breaking into a very notorious, tough industry. So if you have that background of a film school and you have the background of being on sets, getting to do what you do, if you take that one extra step, which is not required, but I'm doing it, Allie's doing it, of going to grad school to really focus on the one element of film you want to focus on and just harness that talent for like 2 years, then yes, is film school worth it? Fuck yeah. Is it perfect? No, not even close. There are major cons. If I ran Emerson, I'd run it very differently. If I ran LMU, I'd run it very differently. But at the end of the day, the stuff you get from it is so valuable. And I'm at an early stage. We'll see how much of it ends up playing a part in my future. But if I had to guess, if I had to put money on it right now, if I was a betting man, a lot of what I've learned at Emerson and LMU and all the experience I gain and all the networking I'm doing with all these amazing people will play a massive part in everything I do moving forward. And these are people hopefully I'll never forget. And these are skills and experiences that I'm going to film sets as a brand new person, sure. But I've already come this far. I already know this much. So it's going to give me a major leg up versus someone who's just moving to LA that knows nothing. That just, you know what I mean? And good luck to them. Bring it the fuck on. But is film school worth it? Yes, 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 yes. Go to film school. Film school is super fun. Go make films. Go meet film people. Just be surrounded in film for 4 years, for 6 years. Do it for 10. Become a doctor in film. I don't know if you can do that. That'd be fucking sick, though. Dr. Pelton? What's your doctorate in? Directing. Dude, that'd be awesome. Could you imagine? Anyway, film school. Shout out Emerson. Shout out LMU. I hold a special place in my heart for both of you. That was Director in Development. That was His Film School. Worth it. I hope you enjoyed me just rambling on and on. To my dad, once again, I am sorry to disappoint you. I will try to make it to school on Monday. I'll try my best. If you want more of me for some fucking reason, I do have another podcast with my co-host, Nick Warner, called I Can't Believe This Got Greenlit, that comes out every other Thursday. Oh, he's going to be so mad at me. But go check that out. Follow Quaywood Productions on Instagram, TikTok. We're not on Twitter because fuck Twitter. We have a website. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Facebook. We're on everything. Couple other quick things to plug. One, we have a new miniseries coming out that, yes, I wrote and directed, ironically, at my time at Emerson. It was the last thing I ever made at Emerson, so I couldn't have done that without film school. Thank you, film school. We have a new miniseries coming out on the Quaywood Productions YouTube channel called Tales from Riverford Community College. As I'm making this, episode 2 is currently out. I'm hoping this will go up before episode 3 comes out, so go check those out. They're quite good. And we're working on a new short film called The Citrus Sunken Sunshine, and our Indiegogo is live. So if you want to support Quaywood Productions, you want to see the next thing that comes out of my fucked up, weird creative brain that I am writing and directing, please go support us there as well. But in the meantime, I will see you next Thursday for another episode of Director in Development. Goodbye!
This has been a Quaywood audio production.